Hello guys, welcome to class 9. We are really getting there. Today, last class we had about persuasive essays. Today we're talking about the second kind, expository writing prompts. So you get to write an essay about any one of these prompts on the PDF that is right there. So expository is explaining something. Maybe you are explaining how to make a cake. That would be an expository essay. Write about your favorite holiday. Provide details about why it is your favorite holiday. Be sure to include an effective conclusion that makes others want to go. That is when a holiday that you go to, so like a vacation kind of holiday. A holiday in England is when you go somewhere. A holiday in the United States is just like a special day, like Christmas, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Children's Day. Those are holidays. You don't always go somewhere for a holiday in the US. So write about your favorite movie or television show or your favorite book. Write about your most embarrassing moment ever. So if I was going to write about my most embarrassing moment ever, what would I do? Dun da da, you guys know. Cluster. You always start off with your cluster. Now your cluster can be in Portuguese, but all the rest needs to be in English. So first your cluster. So I'm going to put cluster, embarrassing. So embarrassing moment. A very very embarrassing moment for me, not for you, was when I was at church. Now, at my church, when I was younger, you would give your offering in a bucket. So they would have like a container, and everyone would go to the front of the church, and they would put their money into the bucket in like a circle. Well, they had one just for children, and the one with children, of course, it had lots of coins. So there was 1 cent, 2 cents, no. 1 cent, 5 cents, 10 cents, 25 cents for coins in America. So all the kids were putting their coins in some dollar bills or some money, and I came up and I put my money in, but somehow my hand got stuck on the box, and it went everywhere in the middle of church. They had to stop the song. They had to stop everything so they could go and pick up all of the money all over the church. It was so embarrassing. Okay, so that's my embarrassing moment. But how am I going to cluster that? Well, if I want to divide it into 3 parts, I would probably have the first part. So the first part, I was at church. So let's talk about the setting. It was at church. I was younger. They had the offering plate, and you put the money in the plate. So that would be all of the setting. Now, the second part, what happened next? I go up to give the money. So you begin the suspense. So I create the suspense. What is going to happen? The third paragraph is going to be the conclusion, the final, the embarrassing part. So I was so embarrassed. I knocked it over everywhere. So my cluster is going to be telling the whole story. So the 3 paragraphs need to explain the beginning, middle, and end of my embarrassing story. Now, how am I going to put this into a thesis? Well, for expository, the thesis can be a little different. So you might put something about my most embarrassed. I was so embarrassed when I was at church. I walked up to the offering and it dumped everywhere. So it's a quick summary, or I can put something else like maybe how I felt. So I could say for my thesis, I could put my most embarrassing moment. I felt so, and then you could put 3 things, but you need 3 things you can talk about. But I would probably do the first part, second part, and third part of your story. And this is also going to be for your narrative, for the different parts. So you cluster, and then you figure out your thesis. So like a summary thesis. How can you say it really quick? And then a hook and a closing. Maybe my hook could be, spling, was the sound of the money going everywhere. This was my most embarrassing moment. So that's an onomatopoeia. That's a sound. That is a really good hook. So a hook, a closing, and then I'm ready to fill it all in. So my first paragraph, how many sentences? 5 sentences for 8th and 9th grade, 3 sentences for 6th and 7th grade. I'm going to have my hook and my thesis, which is, in this case, probably more of a summary. My first paragraph is going to be 5 sentences explaining the setting. The third paragraph is going to be the build-up. So all of this stuff building up until that embarrassing moment, telling you about the church and the music was playing and everyone was praying and had their eyes closed. It was quiet until they heard the change going everywhere. The pennies and the nickels and the dimes were flying. It was horrible. 4, the moment. The moment it happens. And then 5, we're going to have the conclusion. Now the conclusion is going to have the thesis again. And I say, so that's why my most embarrassing moment was at church when I was giving my offering and it spilled everywhere. And then a closing. Maybe a closing could be a question. What's your most embarrassing moment? You're going to do a great job, guys.